Sorry?
Yeah, I'm
But
seeing it.
yeah, we are able to see, but it's not clear.
Not readable.
Not readable?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Give me a
Yeah,
minute.
not
Let
readable.
me. Okay, let me do this. How about now?
Yeah, it's good.
I can read it now. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay. So let's get started.
Okay. You're scrolling, right?
Sorry?
You were scrolling. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm scrolling. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are many rules here, but I'll mainly focus on the rules which are required for the umpires. So typically, right, teams will give you something to hold on when you're doing the umpiring. And if you do not want to hold them, you can do so because this was during COVID and even now as well. So if such things, if they keep on the field, that will not result in 5 penalty runs. It will not result in a penalty run for the team if you are not ready to hold something that the teams give you. Okay? Then to start the game, minimum of 7 players are required to start the game. Let's say one of the team does not have those 7 players, then for every 5 minutes, such teams will lose 1 over.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say team A has full team, whereas team B has only 6 players, and it's a 20 over game. In that case, for every 5 minutes lost, team B will start losing 1 over. Okay, and that can go up to 10 overs. And if they don't have the required players till 50 minutes from the start time, then the game will be forfeited and hand over to team A.
Okay.
Is that clear? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And then, so there is a leg umpire who will be from the batting team, mostly more like in the league games. And if there is a conflict in the sense that, the players go and players and the leg umpire engage in an argument, then that is treated as a spot conflict, and all of them will be penalized as per the discipline rules. There are a lot of discipline rules. I'll get to them. So let's say the players go and abuse the leg umpire. The umpire can always come and complain to the main umpire, and then it can be treated as an abuse by the players, and they will be penalized. But if the leg umpire also gets into the argument, then he'll also be considered as a part of the argument, and it will be considered as a spot conflict. And as per the rules in place, anyone who participates in a spot conflict will be penalized. So the thing is, like here, the leg umpire is also from the batting team. So it's kind of part of the batting team. So for that reason, he should not engage in an argument with the players, because at the end of the day, he is also a player. And
Right.
when a spot conflict happens, then it's difficult to figure out whose fault it is, right? Who started it? Who said more? Who said less? So that is the character of a spot conflict. So if somebody is abused, they have to just keep quiet, report to main umpire, then for sure action will be taken against such abusive players.
Okay.
Okay. This is about timeliness for the game. So the umpires are required to be on the ground 15 minutes before the game. If you are not, then if the game starts by the time the umpire has reached the ground, that means you are late. So even if you start, even after 1 ball is bowled or 1 over is bowled, it doesn't matter. There's a penalty of $50 for such delayed arrivals of the umpire. Let's say the umpire does not show up by the 10th over of the innings, then the umpiring team will be penalized. So this will not go to the umpires, but it will go to the teams who have hired you, the penalty. So for showing up late, it is $50. By the end of the 10th over, doesn't show up, it's $80. And by the end of the first innings, if the umpire doesn't show up, it will be considered as a no-show, and there will be $100 penalty and a 1 point for the non-show. Negative points for the team who had the umpiring assigned. And in the case of assigned umpires, I have not seen anyone not showing up. Probably it might be 1 in 100, or I don't remember it ever happening. But this delay of not coming before the game starts has happened quite a few times. Try to avoid that. The thing is, like, if the umpire, any cases of umpiring delays, right, the team has to report to me via email within 2 weeks of such a delay. If they don't, then I don't take any action. But if they do, then these penalties will be applicable.
Applicable.
Okay. Yeah. Same penalty for the playoff games. However, in playoff, it will be $120 for the non-show instead of $100 for the game. So playoff games, please make sure that you always show up, because playoff games, if you don't show up, then it will be a big penalty for the playing teams, because in playoffs there are reviews allowed for the team if they are not happy with the decisions. If you don't show up, then the teams will lose that option of reviews. And in playoff, you know how competitive it is. It's like, it's not being nice to the playoff teams, the teams who are playing the playoff games. Okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah. And this is related to, this is what I mentioned, like, what is the process for them to report the delay and all that. So this is not applicable to you. This is also a team's responsibility. This is also a team's responsibility. The same thing. This is about the timeliness again. So there is no grace time as such to start the game. Some teams have the impression that, okay, we have to wait for 5 minutes, waiting for the umpire. They'll keep on putting messages in the group. I've told them always there is no grace time. Game has to start on time, regardless of whether the umpire is there or not. And the same thing, if any team, for some reason, even though they have full players and they refuse to take the ground, for every 5 minutes delay, they'll start losing an hour. And this is applicable. I'll edit the rules a little bit this time. This is applicable even after the break. Let's say after the 10 overs or after the innings, there is there is like a break allowed of 5 minutes for the 5 or 7 minutes for the teams within the innings, and then 10 minutes between the innings. Let's say the fielding team is there, the umpires are there, the batting team is delaying, it's not coming. Again, they'll start to lose 5 minutes per, like 1 over per 5 minutes lost. It's applicable to the bowling team also. Batting team is ready, and then the umpire is ready, the fielding team is not coming, then they'll get lesser overs. Basically, the penalty will apply to both ways at any point of time if they are not ready to come to the ground when the game is going on. Clear?
Clear.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is about the responsibility of completing the games on time. It's very, very important that the games are started on time and completed on time, especially very, very important during winter games, because winter games are the ones where most of the delay happens. So the game timings are either 3 hours 15 minutes and 3 hours 30 minutes. In the games there are 3 hours 30 minutes. All the winter league games are going to be 18 overs. Even if the team says something else, don't go with it. And for saying it's 18 overs per innings, no break during the innings. The only break allowed is between the innings. If you look at it, if you take 5 minutes per over, which the teams will normally take, it's going to be 90 minutes per innings, 90 and 90, 180. If the game is 3 hours, 15 minutes, there is only 195 minutes for the whole game. So that 10 minutes will anyways go into the break. There's only 5 minutes of leverage there. So it's very critical to start the game on time and complete on time. And if there is a delay in the start of the game, please reduce the game. Please reduce the overs in the game. Don't listen to the teams because it's your responsibility to make sure the game is completed within the allocated time. Teams will say, "Oh, we'll do that. We'll do." No, sorry. The game has to start on time. I mean, it's like a 5 minute leverage is okay, but if it is delayed, like some games start 15 minutes late, straight away you lost 15 minutes, which is 3 overs you lost, so it has to be a reduced game, like it will be a 17 overs game straight away. Okay.
Okay.
Please make sure. I mean, if the game duration is 3 hours 30 minutes, yes, they have got some time. Even in that case, if the games are either 3 hours 15 minutes or 3 hours 30 minutes, or sometimes even more than that, they will say, "Oh, okay, we will play a 20 over game." No, don't allow them. It's an 18 over game for all the winter league games. It's mandated. And make sure that the game is completed in time. Because the reason for that is any delays in the games are strictly penalized by, they're strictly penalized if there is a delay of around 2 overs for the second game. There is a $25 penalty for all the teams, the playing team and the umpiring team. If there's a delay of 4 overs, there's a penalty of $50 for the umpiring team and the playing teams. And if there is a delay of 6 overs, then there is a penalty of $75 for all the playing teams, including the umpiring team. And if it is figured out that at the end of the game time, the delay is going to be more than, if there are more than 6 overs to be played, then the game will be terminated. The teams who are playing next, they can come and tell you, please terminate the game, and game has to be terminated. And the penalty will be anyways there, and the game will be, the scorecard of the game will be deleted. Both the playing teams will get 0 points. Okay. Clear on this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then in most of the cases, right? So what happens is the second and the third, the teams for the second, the next 2 games, let's say if this is the first game got delayed or whatever, the teams of the next games after the delayed game have an option to either play a reduced over game, or let's say the first game of the day gets delayed, the second game they decide to play a reduced over so that the third game can start on time. Then all the penalty that was levied on the teams of the first game is given to the teams of the second game. Or if they say, okay, we are not going to play a reduced over game, we are going to pass on the delay to the third game of the day, then as long as they are within the delay that was caused, let's say there was 20 minutes, 15 minutes delay from the first game, the second game also gets completed within 15 minutes delay, they are still within time because they have completed the game within their allotted time. When the delay passes on to the third game of the day and they have no option, they have to play a reduced over game. So they will get the penalty, they will get the penalty. And then if the umpiring team is same, let's say for the first game or the second game and the third game, the umpiring team will not get the penalty. Meaning, let's say there was a $25 penalty on the first game, and the second game teams decided to play a reduced over game. The playing teams will get the penalty, but the umpiring team will not get the penalty, because what happens is the first game, the umpire delayed the game. The second game, the umpires decided to play a reduced over game. So $25 penalized in the first game, $25 you got back in the second game. So it's zero. So the umpiring team doesn't get penalized. So due to that, if there are umpiring of the same team in consecutive games, the the umpire of the second or the third game will not get the penalty. They'll be still be penalized. You're with me on that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then if the team, so this has happened in the past, like one of the teams just decide to, they say, okay, we want to end the game, even though the other game is ready, the other team is ready to play the game for whatever reason. This happens typically in the second innings. So in that case, that means if the team has walked out and they are refusing to play, that means they are forfeiting the game and they lose the game. That rule is related to this. And then if both teams want to, okay, and if both, this has happened again, this is also based on some happenings in the past. If both teams are still ready to play and the umpiring team decides to end the game by saying, hey, I'm going to end the game now because the time is over, in that case, the umpiring team will be penalized 1 point because the teams are required to maintain, like be cognizant about the time of the game right from the beginning of the game. So I'll explain you how that is. At the beginning of the game, the teams have got a chance. They have to look at the time which is available for the game. If there is a delay in the start of the game, they have to decide to play a reduced over game right at that moment. So they miss the first chance. I mean, this is the team and the umpire. Both have missed the first chance. They have another chance at the beginning of the second innings. So now if it is a 3 hour, 15-minute game, at the beginning of the second game, second innings, for an 18 over innings, the teams are required to have a minimum of 90 minutes. If there are 90 minutes and more, they can play the full 18 overs. Let's say there is less time. All three teams have got still a chance to make it on time. They have to reduce the number of overs in the second innings and come up with a DL, like revised total. The revised total is, there's no DL method or anything like that. It's a simple average. If the team scored 100 runs in the first innings for 18 overs, then if you are playing a 16 overs game in the second innings because there was no time available, then a revised target based on the average has to be decided and the teams have to play. So that is the second chance that the teams have. Now, let's say second innings is going on and some major injury happens or something happens, time is lost. That is the third chance where the target can be again revised if enough time is lost because the game cannot be completed on time. Now, if all these three chances are missed by the teams, then all the three teams are now in a situation where they have to pay the penalty or end the game on time. If all three, both playing teams decide that at the end of the playing time, hey, the situation in the match is such that even if we continue, there's going to be no result, let's end the game. They have the option of doing it. But at that point of time, at the end of the playing time, if one of the team wants to say, I want to continue, but the other team says, sorry guys, it's time up, we want to leave, then they are forfeiting the game. Now, at the end of the playing time, if both teams are saying, okay, we'll pay the penalty and we'll play, but the umpire says, guys, no, the time's up, you have to end the game, then the umpiring team will receive a penalty of 1 point. Now, all the three teams have the option to continue till 30 minutes after the game time, provided they have less than 6 overs to complete. Because now they are paying the penalty and playing. But if there are more than 6 overs to complete, you have to stop the game right away. Clear with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. So it's the response. You've got many chances to assess or to correct the game so that it can be completed in time. If you lost all of that and if you come to the end of the game, sorry, you have to pay the penalty and play. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So these kind of rules in terms of discipline are very, very strict in TCC. We strictly prohibit player-to-player argument and group conflicts or spot conflicts. Player to umpire, which is like the players abusing the umpires, either the neutral umpire or the it's just the neutral or the batting team umpire. Then abusive viewers behavior towards umpire, neutral or batting team leg umpire. All this is strictly prohibited in TCC. Our belief is that cricket is a gentleman's game, and that is how it should be played. But there are some abusive players. There are players who don't have control on their temper. They throw a lot of tantrums. Very, very strict. All I need is an umpire report that this is what happened, and I'll guarantee you I'll take action. Because we don't want such players to be playing in TCC. They can go and play anywhere. It does not matter to me how skilled they are, how important they are, whatever, they might be the biggest shot in Houston. It doesn't matter. On the cricket field, they're expected to play it like a gentleman. If they don't, then these are the rules. Non-physical offenses, first time offense, the player will get a two-game suspension. The team is penalized for $250 and the captain is reprimanded. Second time offense within 3 years. So he's being monitored. That player is being monitored for 3 years. Player gets suspension from the current tournament and next. Team is again penalized for $250. Captain is reprimanded. Third time offense within 5 years. Player has been suspended. Now player will be suspended for 2 years. Team penalty is $250. Captain is reprimanded. Second reprimand for a captain in a tournament suspends the captain from the tournament or for 2 games, whichever is the maximum. Now these are physical offenses. First time physical offense, player gets a suspension from the current tournament and next 2 tournaments. Team is penalized $500 and captain suspended for 3 games. Second time offense within 5 years, player suspended for 3 years. Team penalty is $500. Captain suspended from that tournament or for 3 games, whichever is the maximum if this happens within the same tournament. So, Ranjit keeps telling me sometimes that umpires are not happy coming to TCC because they are abused. Players put a lot of pressure. TCC is the tournament where the umpires will have the maximum respect and they have the power to control the discipline. If somebody is abusive, don't take the abuse. Because my belief is, you are not, it's like the umpires are not servants of anyone. They are there to do a very good job, neutral job. So they deserve all the respect. If teams are not willing to give the respect, let them pay for it.
Yeah.
We really don't want such players in TCC.
They want to see me lose. They want to see me get knocked out, and then they're going to make excuses for Mike Tyson when he's.
Is there any radio? Can you mute it? Background. Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay. So clear on these offenses?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you're there, please feel empowered and don't be a ringmaster because there's a skill to control the players also. It can be always nice. Tell them nicely, but if they don't listen, some players they don't listen. So please don't come and play. Our message to such players is please don't come and play in TCC. Go and play somewhere else. Okay?
Gotcha.
I don't want umpires to feel unprotected or helpless on the ground. Never. You are the boss on the ground. The umpires are the boss on the ground. They got all the powers given by TCC to manage the unruly teams. All I need is an email report from you saying, hey, this is what happened. This is the abuse. This is the abusive player. And everybody in TCC knows that a report comes to the organizer that team is going to be penalized. No, there is no second thought or anything like that. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. This is the same thing about the spot conflict. Explaining that. See the teams sometimes, right? The teams report that, oh, we had a conflict, that guy abused me. Then my question to the team is, did you also participate in the conflict? They say yes. He said more, I said less. Okay, I said then I can't determine who said more or who said less. Even the umpires cannot determine who said more or who said less. If you're in a conflict, you're in a conflict, regardless of whatever it is. But if you have the strength to absorb that abuse once, the other player is going to get penalized heavily because of this. All they need to do is come and report to the neutral umpire. Okay. So that is done. This is walkover, nothing concerned. Yeah, this one, unfair movement by the fielding side. Any unfair or deliberate movement while the ball is running into ball could now result in umpire awarding 5 penalty runs to the batting side in addition to a call of dead ball. So that's your call. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. And okay, captains and umpires are expected to know the rules. So umpires especially are expected to know the rules. If the umpire doesn't know the rule, if it is figured out that the umpire doesn't know the rule, the umpiring team will be penalized $50 for every instance of them not knowing the rule. And that's for the captains, but for the umpire. And smoking and vaping is also not allowed on the ground.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. There is a penalty of $100 per player who has been found smoking or vaping on the ground if they are reported. And if, let's say, 3 players of the team are smoking, the team will be penalized $300. And as umpires, definitely, you should not do that as well. They cannot smoke within the parking lot. Not only in the ground, within the parking lot, they cannot smoke. If they want to go and smoke in the parking lot, they can go and sit inside their car and smoke, but outside they cannot. The area where they can smoke is outside the parking lot of the ground. Okay. And this is about the rule which I mentioned. If the umpires do not know the documented rules, the umpiring team will be penalized $50 per instance. And then this is about the impact players. Teams are confused. They try to use the impact. And this is nothing to do with the umpires, just informing you. And this is more related to the teams. Some of the teams have used impact players in league games. If they do that, they'll, and if it gets reported later, they'll end up losing the game because it's not allowed. It's impact player is allowed only in the playoff games.
Right. Yeah.
And then this is about the pictures and everything. I mean, umpires have no role in that. So these are okay. So those are all the summary of all the important rules. Now I'll go through the details. So mostly we'll be skipping wherever I have already covered. If there is something that is not covered there. So as an umpire, right, if you know these things, just the summary is more than enough. You got 90% of the rules you know. Now in details, I will go and see if there's something that is missed. We can talk about that. So same thing, all winter games, no drinks break within the innings. Only break is between the innings and 5 minutes per over, 3 hours, 15 minutes. It has to be completed within 3 hours, 15 minutes. 3 hours, 30 minutes, you got a little more leverage. But if the game time is 3 hours, 15 minutes, there is no leverage. You got to cut the overs if there is any delay.
Okay.
Okay. There are different types of no balls. You are all aware, but I'll just clear it out. Front foot no ball. Ball bouncing twice or more on the rolls along the ground before it reaches the popping crease. Ball pitched outside the mat, like it pitches on the grass.
Yep. Oh, bro.
Yeah. Balled from behind the umpire. The bowler cannot ball it from behind the umpire because you're not able to see the action. So that's also a no ball. Ball balled behind the umpire and the ball lands in front of the wicket. So sometimes what they claim is when they're trying to bowl, the ball goes behind. So it's a dead ball in that case. If it falls in front of the wicket and if they are bowling behind the umpire, that's a no ball. Ball from outside the mat. So there are lines on the mat, like some lines for wide. Some umpires think that the bowler bowls outside the wide line. It's a no ball. It is not. As long as the bowler is bowling within the mat, it is not a no ball. Okay? But if he goes outside the mat and bowls, then it's a no ball. Bowler breaks the stumps, like while he is bowling, his ball, his hand hits the stumps, so it's a no ball, and the bails are dislodged. And wicketkeeper collecting the ball before the stumps, like when he's doing something like he's behind the batsman, and when he's trying to stump or take a catch, not I think for the stumping, for the catch he can always dive forward and take it. But if he's collecting the ball before the stumps, when he's trying to do a stumping, it's a no ball. More fielders allowed, more fielders outside the circle than allowed. That's a no ball. And more than 2 fielders behind the square leg, and less than 4 fielders on the offside. So there should be a minimum of 4 fielders all the time on the offside. And the bowler doesn't count on the fielders on either side, leg, or you have to, like, other than the bowler, if there are less than 4 fielders on the offside, that means there are more fielders on the leg side. It's a no ball. And if a bowler bowls from behind the bowling crease, let's say the umpire also stood, like some umpires want to stand behind the crease also, like, they want to stand a little far off from the wicket. And if the bowler ends up bowling behind the bowling crease, it's also a no ball. He has to be a part. Some of his body has to be a part of the bowling crease. And if the bowler, this is what the point that I was emphasizing, if the bowler bowls from outside the sideline of a bowling crease, it is not a no ball. The sideline is for identifying the wide balls. So any questions on the no balls here? Different type of no balls?
No, it's all clear to me.
Okay.
I had a question, like if the ball is like over the shoulder.
Yeah, that I will come. That is
Okay.
also there. Okay. Yeah. And then there is one more condition, like, if the ball is above the waist, regardless of whether the bowler is a spin bowler or pace bowler, if the ball is above the waist, it's a no ball. The only case where the above the waist is not a no ball is if the batsman is moving and he is outside the popping crease. In that case, it is not a no ball. However, if the batsman is already standing outside the popping crease, he does not move, and if the ball is above the waist, it is still a no ball. Okay, is that clear?
Yep.
The initial position, the batsman is already standing outside the popping crease and he has not moved and still above the waist, it's a no ball. But if the batsman he was within the popping crease when the bowler started, like when the ball was delivered, and then he comes out in a moving pose, then it's not, if it's above the waist. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, I've given different scenarios, but the gist of that is that the batsman has to be in a moving position and he should be outside the popping crease. Only then it is not a no ball. Otherwise, it's always above the waist is a no ball. This is all explanation of all of that. And more than one ball above the waist is not an automatic suspension of the bowler for the rest of the match. It's the umpire's call. The umpire can decide whether it is considered as dangerous bowling. The moment the bowler bowls a second beamer in the game, it's not automatic suspension. It's your call. If your call, if the umpire decides that it's dangerous bowling, then he's gone for the rest of the game. Okay. About that, right? About the, it's somewhere there, but about that, in TCC, the first ball above the shoulder is a no ball. There is no one for the over. Okay. Okay. And regardless of where the batsman is, if it is a short ball, if it's above the shoulder, it is still a no ball. Like, it's the above the waist is a different equation. Let's say the batsman is walking down the crease, and then he's in motion, and it's above the waist ball. It's not a no ball. But if it is a short ball, like if it is above his shoulder, regardless of wherever he's on the crease, it is still a no ball. It doesn't matter where the batsman is.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. This is what it is. Any ball that clearly bounces above the shoulder of the batsman shall be declared a no ball. And movement of the wicketkeeper. The wicketkeeper, again, illegal movement means he cannot start moving after, from his initial position without the batsman knowing about it. That will also, if it is unfair. If it is unfair if the wicketkeeper standing back makes a significant movement towards the wicket after the ball comes into play and before it reaches the striker. In the event of such unfair movement by the wicketkeeper, either umpire shall call and declare a dead ball. It will not be considered a significant movement if the wicketkeeper moves a few paces forward for a slower delivery. Non-striker leaving or his or her ground early. If a non-striker is out of the ground at any time from the moment the ball comes into play, I mean, this is standard, right? If as long as the ball is in play, they cannot leave the crease. If they do, then definitely it is. It's the game is in play, so they can be run out or all those things. So there's nothing different from standard cricket rules there. Then there's net run rate, field restrictions. Yeah, this probably you know what I'm emphasizing. Let's say instead of 11 players, there are only 9 players. Going by the condition that there are only when we say that there are field restriction of only two players outside the 30-yard circle in the power play, in the first power play, what that indirectly means is that they have to have 9 players inside the 30 yards, right? If the team is playing with only 9 players, they cannot have any player outside the 30 yard. That's what it means. You get my point?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing for the second power play also. And then this is all legal delivery. This is all bull just there. So, okay. When a batsman is run out, if one of the bail was accidentally dislodged before the run out was attempted, and the fielder removed the remaining one bail, the batsman will be still ruled out. He doesn't have to, just because one bail is down accidentally due to no fault of the fielding team, they don't have to pick up the wicket, which is the case if they try to attempt a run out or if they try to attempt a run out or whatever in the first case and one of the bail goes, then they have to pick the wicket. But if there's an accidentally the bail has gone, then they're not penalized. Even if they take out one bail, he's still out. For a switch hit means where the batsman completely changes his position from a right-hand batting stance to a left-hand batting stance, then the wide rules will change accordingly. Now the batsman is treated as a left-hand batsman.
Okay.
But if it is just a reverse sweep, he's in the same stance, the wide rule will remain the same as if he's a right-handed batsman and if he tries to do a reverse sweep as a left-handed batsman without changing his stance, the wide rule is still applicable as if it was applicable for a right-hand batsman. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. And if there is an unintentional contact of the ball with the batsman or bat while running between the wickets, the diverted ball cannot be used for additional runs. The current run can be completed, and that is where it ends. And then if the batsman is either his guard starts, he has taken an off-stump guard, or he is beyond that off-stump, then the wide line of the offside, it automatically moves to the outer line in the pitch. Clear with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And the decision on where the batsman is standing is a judgment call by the umpire.
Okay.
Yeah. And in the league games, either umpire can call no ball for above the waist, but the final call will be from the neutral umpire. He can overrule the leg umpire if needed.
Okay.
Yeah, that is in the league games,
League.
not in the league games where the leg umpire is from the batting team. But in the playoff games where both are neutral umpires, the no ball call is of the leg umpire. The main umpire
Right.
cannot take the call. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the main umpire. So in the league games, right, every other decision other than the no ball, other than the stumping and the run out on the batting end is that of the only decision that a leg umpire can take during the league games is that he can take the stumping decision on the batting side and the run out decision on the batting side. The main umpire cannot overrule those decisions, even though he's a neutral umpire and that guy is a non-neutral umpire, because the leg umpire is in the best position to take such decisions. All other decisions are with the neutral umpire, and teams, right, even though we have told them so many times, they'll appeal, they'll ask you to go, they'll appeal to the leg umpire for caught behind decisions which are not clear and all that. Everything belongs to the main umpire, and it's upon the main umpire to, you cannot even go and check whether the catch was clean and or not with the leg umpire because he's from the batting team. So all of the decisions are of the leg umpire during the league games, but during the playoff games, the main umpire has the, if he wants, he can go and check with the leg umpire if the catch was cleanly taken. But for edges, it is still a call of the main umpire whether it was a catch or not. And the teams have the right of two reviews in that case. They can review. I mean, it's not the ideal one, but because there is no third umpire, we have put something there. So let's say the main umpire gives out for a catch, edge, right, behind the wicket keeper, and then the teams appeal. They appeal to the leg umpire. The main umpire is obligated to go and check with the leg umpire. If the leg umpire says, no, I did not hear anything, then the main umpire has to change his decision. That's the purpose of the review. So you'll have to give not out. Is that clear?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then there's one more rule also where the batting team and the bowling team can be warned by the umpires for wasting time during the game. Like,
Yes.
bowling team keep on doing this huddles, this. You can
And
warn them.
changing their feel.
Yes. So you can warn them, guys, you're wasting time. If they do not listen, then you have to tell the captain, next time I see this, you guys will be penalized. The penalty is that the bowling team will get one less ball to bowl, and it will be like declared as a no ball. They'll get a free hit. So I'll tell you here. I'll read the rule so that it's clear. Umpires should warn the captains in case the fielding team is wasting time or batsmen or delaying the continuation of the game for unnecessary reasons. So it is fair to both the teams. Umpires should make all the efforts to complete the game in time. If the fielding team is wasting time by having team huddles or huddles between groups of players between every over, the team will be penalized with an additional run. Additional run, meaning the batting team will get one run extra and there will be a free hit for the batting team. Clear? For every such instance. Okay. Same thing, if the batsmen are wasting time by having mid-wicket conferences even after the fielding team is ready and umpire is saying, guys, you're wasting time, they don't listen to you, then the batting team will be penalized with one run deducted from the score and one less ball to play for every such instance. Clear?
Okay.
No discussion will be entertained in this regard and the umpire's decision will be final. So the umpires, if you see you have a lot of power on the ground, use it properly. And if the fielding team is not happy with the umpiring decisions of the leg umpire, which happens, or which they feel that it's the case because the leg umpire is from the batting team, then they can always politely come and request the main umpire that we do not want the leg umpire because he is not giving proper decisions. Then the main umpire can ask the leg umpire to go. The leg umpire has to go in that case. And they have to give a new leg umpire. But it doesn't mean that if the umpire, they're not happy with the umpiring decision, they start abusing the umpire. That is not allowed. Clear?
Clear.
Okay.
Clear.
And okay, so this is all done. Umpires, umpires. Yeah, this is what you mentioned. Players are required to refrain from requesting the main umpire to consult the leg umpire for decisions for which the main umpire is responsible. For except 4P. 4P is nothing but the review in the playoff games. I'm giving inputs to the leg umpire for decisions. Yeah, similarly, the leg umpire, the main umpire is not required to give inputs to the leg umpire for decisions for which the leg umpire is responsible for, mainly the run out and the stumping on the batting side. That is his domain. The main umpire cannot get into that, regardless of whether it's a neutral or a non-neutral umpire. And so umpires are required to hold their ground for the decisions. Once you give out, unless it's a playoff game and unless there is a review which is available to the teams, that is it. You cannot change the decision. And that's the final decision, and teams have to accept and move on. Okay. But at the same time, we also say that the umpires are expected to know the basic rules of the game. You have to give your decisions within the rules of the game. So if you are giving your decision within the rules, the most problem is like, you give them out on a wicket keeper's catch. They'll say, no, there was no edge. Sorry, you're not the umpire. I'm the umpire. It's my decision. Yeah, move on, guys. Okay. And then sometimes the main umpire can also advise the leg umpire in another case where you can see that the leg umpire is not focusing on whether the batsman is properly touching the popping crease or not. They are looking at somewhere, whether it's a 6 or a 4. That is not the duty of the leg umpire. So you got to advise them, guys, you're not doing your job properly. And whether it's a 6 or a 4 is purely a fielder's call.
Yeah. Fielder's
However, if it is it's very bad, it's if the main umpire sees that the fielder is outside the boundary also, and he says no, it's a 4, he catches it outside the boundary. I mean, it's very clear that the fielder is not being honest. Then the main umpire can always ask the fielder to stop right there, go and validate it. Otherwise, it's always the close calls, right? It's always the fielder's call. And here it is mentioned, if the umpires do not know the documented rules, the umpiring team will be penalized for $50 each for each of that instance. And this is all about the discipline and about the smoking. So no smoking is allowed. Weather. Okay, so this is based on what happened in the last tournament. I'm going to change this rule a little bit. So for a game to be completed, right, in the second innings, half of the overs for the game have to be completed. Let's say now you're playing an 18-over game.
Yeah.
Then 9 overs of the second innings have to be completed. And if it was a 20-over game, then 10 overs of the second innings have to be completed for it to be treated a full game. And this is true even if the teams decide to play a reduced over game. So let's say at the beginning of the wherever, during the multiple checkpoints at the beginning of the game or at the beginning of the second innings, the teams decided that now we are not playing the full 18 overs. We are playing the 16 overs game, 16-over innings. Even in that case, those 10 overs, the 9 overs or the 10 overs, whatever constitutes the half of the decided duration of the game by the tournament have to be completed. Let's say they are playing a 16-over game. It doesn't mean that 8 overs of the second innings have to be completed. It's still 9 overs. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to change one rule here, which is based on what happened in the last tournament. What I'm going to write here, what I'm going to change here is, let's say it is the last over. Let's say it is we are saying that 10 overs have to be completed in the second innings for the game to be treated as complete. Now let's say 9.3 overs have been completed and the rain starts and the game has to be ended. Anything beyond half of the last over is remaining and rain happens and the game cannot be continued, or game can be continued but the team is refusing to play the game, even then it will be considered as a completed game unless those three balls, those remaining three or two or one ball is going to make a difference for the completion of the game. Right? Let's say if the team batting second or bowling second, if they are going to get something which will change the DL equation, only then we can consider playing those remaining balls. Otherwise, if it doesn't have any significant impact on the result, it's done. The game is going to be completed. I'm going to change the rule for that.
Okay.
Is that clear? Okay.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
umpires, we should always focus on trying to have a complete game. Scoreboarding, this is nothing for you. Nothing for the umpires. Yeah. This is all to the teams. This is all for the teams again. For the teams. For the teams. For the teams. So this is related to players who come late to the game. They are allowed to come late to the game till the half of the first innings if the team is fielding. But if the team is batting, they can come at any time. There is no restriction.
Right. So we won't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, you won't know. And if the team is fielding and a player does not come for, like they are using a substitute, and the substitute is used for more than half duration of the first innings, then that player becomes a regular player. This other player cannot come and take over his place.
Okay.
Okay. And let's say the team fielding fields only with 10 players because they did not have all the 11 players. The 11th player came when the fielding team is now batting. Can he bat? Absolutely, he can bat. There's nothing stopping him from batting. Okay?
Right.
That is what it is about. And if a player comes late when the team is fielding, or he leaves the field when the team is fielding for any reason, right? And he comes back again, he cannot bowl for so many overs.
How many?
As an example, if a player comes in the fifth over, then he cannot bowl for 5 more overs.
Okay.
And in the same way, if the player leaves the field when the fielding is going on for any reason can happen. For the number of overs that he was out, he cannot come back and bowl right away. He has to wait for those many overs. Okay?
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. That is this. Schedule match timings. You have talked enough of the match timings. Yeah, this is all about match timing. Captain, nothing. Discipline. We have talked enough of the. That's why I've summarized all these rules at the beginning only, barring a few rules. Yeah, and the batsman can be retired in the game. They can retire and they can come back in 2 cases after 3 wickets have fallen or after the last wicket, whichever is earlier, has
Okay.
fallen.
3 wickets. Okay.
Yeah, 3 wickets or after the last wicket has fallen, whichever is earlier. There is no runner allowed for an injured batsman. And then this is And a maximum of 4 substitutes will be allowed per team, because that also gels with the fact that a team has to have 7 minimum players, regular players playing the game.
Okay.
Okay. And the substitutes can do everything other than bowling and batting. Like some teams
Okay.
believe that substitutes cannot do wicket keeping. No, they can do wicket keeping, because wicket keeping is still a part of the fielding.
Okay.
And this is again about behavior. No form of sledging is allowed in TCC. It's a gentleman's game. They have to play it as a gentleman's game. This is all for the teams. Teams is about tournament, nothing. Latest rules, boundary. Yeah, these are like international rules. We have not made any change. Like, if someone tries to take the catch in the air and that all, same rules, nothing has changed. This is for scoring, nothing for you. Yeah, this one I think you already know, but I'll reiterate. Like if the batsman, while completing a run, if he completes the run, like if he's already on the crease, like if he's touched his bat before the ball hits the wicket, and for some reason after that his bat goes up or his leg is in the air, he's still considered in. Once he's in, that's it. Yeah, a batsman can be caught, run out, or stumped even if the ball makes contact with the helmet worn by a fielder or wicketkeeper. That also. I mean, these are all standard rules. We've not made any changes there. And then this is, I think this is already being implemented when a batsman is out uh, through a catch. It doesn't matter whether the batsman has crossed or not. The new batsman has to face the ball.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That is for you. That's for nothing. Okay, so that is it. I think the only thing that I have not covered is about the substitutes. Let me just, it's mainly connected to the team, but it's always good for you also to know it so that you can make it happen. I'm trying to search that quickly. Search. Substitute. Not remembering it at the top of my head. So let me look at it. The substitute player is used for a player who has already played in the game. Yeah, so this is about the substitute. Let's say someone started playing the game, okay, and something happened to him. He wants to sit out, and there is a substitute player that is used. Now, when the substitute player comes in, there's no limitation on how many overs that substitute player can be used. The limitation of a substitute player being used only for the first 10 overs without being a regular player is applicable only when the substitute player starts at the beginning of the game. I'll make it more clear. Let's say the game starts, there are only 10 players in the fielding team. They will use a substitute. They'll tell umpire that, hey, he's a substitute. And that player can play as a substitute only till the 10th over. Beyond the 10th over, he becomes a regular player. Now, the game starts. The team has 11 players. They're playing. On the 5th over, one of the players says, I'm feeling something. I'm going out. And they bring in a substitute player. that substitute player can play for the remaining 15 overs. There's no limitation because he's still a sub. He doesn't become a regular player.
Right.
And now the fielder who went out, if he comes back, he has to wait for those many overs to bowl. But if he doesn't come back, then he can still come and bat. Okay.
Okay.
That's the thing that you should remember. And then that is what it is about it. Also there is no restriction on the use of a substitute player in the second innings for a batsman who has played in the first innings. And there's no restriction on the player who is not playing to be on the ground when a substitute player is used a maximum. Okay, yeah, so this is the thing. Let's say the batting team has batted in the first innings. And now in the second innings, they are fielding and they want to use a substitute. There is no limitation on how many overs that fielder can field.
Okay.
He can field for the whole second innings. That limitation that we have is applicable only when the team is bowling in the first innings and they are using a sub player. He cannot be a sub player for the entire game. He can be a sub player for only 10 overs. Beyond that, he becomes a regular.
Okay.
Okay. And also there is no restriction that I think it is that, but I'll validate. If a fielder just goes out right when he is fielding, then there's no restriction that for batting he has to stay out. He has to stay out. Like he cannot bat for the first 10 overs. It's not like that. He can come right away and bat in the second. Okay.
Got you.
Got you.
Yeah, there is no requirement for a batsman of a team to be present at the game. I think that is it. I have covered everything, and I have covered all the instances where there are like edge cases and we have got calls from the umpires.
All right.
If you have any more questions based on what you have experienced in TCC, you can ask me.
Okay.
Any questions?
Jagdish, I had one question. Like, if there are multiple rain interruptions, let's say the match has started, like 10 overs are done.
Yeah.
There are multiple rain interruptions. So, but we have to finish the match on time. So, how do we manage in that situation?
Yeah, reduction. So it is multiple rain interruption is again equivalent to an interruption.
Yeah.
Let's say the interruption happens in the first innings of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then by the time the second innings starts, there is a reduction of time, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So you can reduce the overs for the second innings at the beginning of the second innings.
Mm-hmm.
Clear with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And about runs?
In the runs, they'll be like changed accordingly. Like for example, to make it easy, right? 20 over game, first innings is 100 runs. In that, there was some rain interruption. They still played the 20 overs. They scored 100 runs. And at the beginning of the second innings, we determined that only 18 overs can be played. The score will be revised to 90 runs. Average.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, the second innings has started. After 5 overs, there is a rain interruption. But it's not such a big rain. The game has started again. Now you have to see how many minutes are there available for the game. And as per that, reduce the overs and the total also will be reduced.
Okay, so to total will be reduced based on the average.
Yes.
Okay.
So any major interruption, so we have given the umpires and the teams multiple options to complete the game on time. Let's say there is rain at the beginning of the game gets delayed. So start with the reduced overs for both the innings.
Okay.
Let's say there is a rain between the first innings and start with the reduced over at the beginning of the second innings. Now let's say there is a rain within the second innings, then reduce the over at that point of time for the second innings and the total will be revised. All three options. If you have missed all those three chances to complete the game in time, then you are liable for the penalty. Okay?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Got it.
Anything else?
We're good. Thank you for your overview and your information.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing the umpiring at TCC. We highly respect you and we thank you for the great job that you're doing. And there is no reason for an umpire to be abused by the players because TCC believes in the original way how cricket is played. It's a gentleman's game. It has to be played like a gentleman's game. If some team or some player doesn't want to play it like that, they don't have a place in TCC. You have got full powers as an umpire to protect yourselves. I feel very bad when I hear that an umpire is abused. I don't like it. Okay, you got no right to be abused. You're doing a great job there. You need to be respected and heard. And no matter what, right? I can assure you this much. No matter how much the teams can complain to me saying that, hey, the umpire took decisions like, oh, it was a wide, but he did not give a wide. As long as it's a judgmental call, right? It's like a line call by the umpire. It's umpire's call, guys. It's not yours. But if the ball is too much outside the line and the umpire is not giving a wide ball, yes, it is against the rules. And if the line is too much inside the ball and the umpire is giving a wide ball, then also it is against the rules. But if it's a judgment call, it's always the umpire's call. Teams cannot take that call. And the catch, the caught behind, it's always the umpire's call. No matter how much teams complain, I tell them, guys, please don't come to me for such decisions. The other option I have given to them is if you feel that the umpire is giving a lot of decisions like that, both teams can talk to each other and you can tell the umpire, thank you, you can go home, we'll do our own umpiring. Please do that, I've told them. Okay?
Yeah, got
Feel
it.
free, feel confident. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for arranging this meeting. It was helpful. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right,
And
thank
I
you.
have a recorded version of this. I will put it on the Google Drive so that you have a link or anybody who has not attended the call to listen to the recording.
All right, great.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right.
All right.
Good evening.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you.